Welcome back to Just the Facts, y'all. My name is Jimmy, and today is the start of our NBA playoffs preview and prediction, like little series or whatever. I'm going to try to do like 8 different videos for the 8 different playoff series that there will be in this first round of these playoffs. I'm not going to do the play-in or nothing like that. They're going on right now as we speak. So I'm really going to begin to talk about the matchups we already know are going to take place, especially the matchups that took place last year as well. As y'all tell by the thumbnail, by the title, Bucks versus Heat in a rematch from last year. And I'm polarized as hell by this series right now. Even like before the playoffs even started, I picked the Heat to upset the Bucks, and I was like a firm believer in that. Like I was very confident in the Miami Heat taking down the Bucks because what I had seen in the regular season games of that year, like how they built the wall around Giannis, and they have the capable defenders. They have the coaching with Erik Spoelstra, and they just had the blueprint that Toronto had from a couple years ago in order to stop Giannis, and that's exactly what they did. Yeah, Giannis was hurt. The series would have been at least a little bit closer if Giannis was healthy. So I will give the Bucks that right there. But the first thing I'm going to look for, really, let's start with the Bucks, like offensively and things like that, versus the Heat's defense, because that's the biggest matchup. Obviously, Giannis versus the Heat defense. First of all, is Giannis going to play 40 minutes or not? Mike Budenholzer obviously is a coach that is reluctant to change his ways a lot of the time, and that has hurt him in these past couple seasons or so, in terms of like scheme, game plan, to rotations and stuff like that. And we saw in the playoffs, Giannis was not getting minutes like that. Like he was playing his regular 34, 35, 36 minutes, somewhere around there, but Mike Budenholzer seemed so reluctant to go above and beyond, to give Giannis and Middleton 40 minutes. Have a shorter leash with your bench. I know Mike Budenholzer loves going to his bench, and sometimes deservedly so. How are the Bucks going to handle the Miami defense, the zone, the wall, all those things? Who's going to be the primary guy on Giannis? I don't think it would be Jimmy Butler. I don't think it would be Bam. Unless Giannis were to play like small ball 5. I'll get to that in a minute. But if Giannis were to play small ball 5, I see Bam guarding him. Last year, it was a lot of Jay Crowder. If I remember correctly, it was a lot of Derrick Jones Jr. as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. They had a lot of other guys, a lot of low usage guys on the offensive end guarding Giannis. So that'd probably be like Trevor Ariza. I forgot to mention Andre Iguodala, who will be guarding him again this time around. And guys like that, they have enough defenders in order to stop Giannis once again. But the biggest thing I want to see from the Bucks is the other guys, and it starts off with Jrue Holiday right here. Jrue Holiday's the X factor for the Bucks. He's a significant upgrade from Eric Bledsoe. Whatever Eric Bledsoe can do, guess what? Jrue Holiday can do even better. I want to see these other guys, starting off with Jrue Holiday, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis when he comes in, Dante DiVincenzo, Pat Connaughton. I'm missing a couple guys. All these guys, when they come in, Bryn Forbes, all these guys are going to have to hit shots when they're out there, man. It's imperative because, yeah, Giannis did struggle, but like when he was passing the ball out to open guys, they're just missing shots. Like guys were missing shots they normally would make. They're going to dare all these other guys to make shots until they consistently prove that they can make those shots, and then the Heat will adjust their defense a little bit, and it'll make things easier for Giannis and Middleton to get things going. Now, touching on Chris Middleton offensively, it's tough, but I think I want to see the ball in his hands. I want to see the Bucks running the ball through his hands in crunch time, because it's easier for him to get a shot off, especially versus this Heat type of defense. The reason why I said that Eric Bledsoe is the biggest X factor for the Bucks last season is because he had the opportunity to exploit a guy like Tyler Hero, a guy like Duncan Robinson, a guy like Goran Dragic. He couldn't take advantage of that. Hopefully Jrue Holiday takes advantage of those guys, and along with the others, another thing I want to point out is they have to get more action. They can't just stand around the corner They can't stand around the three-point line at the wing and expect to have great things happen for them, to expect Giannis to create for them every single time. That's the problem. Giannis is a really good passer, but he's not a good enough passer in order to beat a defense like Miami's. LeBron is. There's other guys in the league that are on another level when it comes to passing. Yes, Giannis is a pretty good passer, but you have to make the right pass like that, man. Like that, repeatedly, over and over and over again, because you never know where the defense is coming from. Keep doing the handoff plays with Giannis. Obviously, they're going to leave him open at the 3. So, a quick solution to that is a handoff with Middleton or handoff with Brent Forbes or Holiday or whoever, for them to get an easy pull-up jumper off the screen, because there would be no one 5-10 feet near them, because Giannis' man is standing in the paint. So if those guys start hitting those shots, then that's going to force the Miami defense to creep up a little bit. And when you're doing that handoff now, you got Giannis rolling to the rim. And I want to see Giannis more as a roller to the rim. That's going to help out a lot too. Him setting a whole bunch of screens, just getting the ball out of his hands. I think post-ups can work also for Giannis to get him some easy looks. But again, he has to make his decisions like that. And one last thing about the Bucks offensively is maybe Bobby Portis might get more minutes than Brook Lopez in this series. That might sound crazy or whatever, but Lopez tends to struggle with his three-point shot. A lot of time he's a stretch 5, you get that, but he's not hitting his threes. You can imagine a guy like Bam just leaving him open and having Bam just roam the court, and that's not a recipe for success if you're the Bucks. So having Bobby Portis in there, who's shooting north of, correct me if I'm wrong, he's shooting 45% from 3 or somewhere around that range. He's shooting from 3. He's shooting lights out. He's not missing. So maybe having him out there a little bit more can threaten the Heat defense a little bit, force them to stretch out a little bit more, and force Bam to actually have to guard a guy. Heat on the offensive side, first thing I'm going to say is Giannis. I know you are Defensive Player of the Year caliber player. I know, the philosophy is he's the help side guy. He's the guy that's roaming all around the court, and that's where he makes his impact, protecting the rim, all that stuff. He can switch out occasionally, but where his bread is butter is roaming, right? That's where the Bucks defense is most successful. I'm sorry, but sometimes you have to take that challenge against Jimmy Butler. I'm not saying guard him the whole game. I think Jrue Holiday should be on Jimmy Butler for the majority of the time. That's just my opinion. But when it comes to the fourth quarter, I want to see Giannis in crucial possessions stick to Jimmy Butler. That's what I want to see. Now, the Bucks defense did not do a good job of stepping up on the handoff plays with Bam and Robinson or Bam and Hero and things like that. So this time around, they have to change up their scheme a little bit. And this is what I was talking about when I was talking about Mike Budenholzer switching things up and being more willing to change his game plan at least a little bit. Because Duncan Robinson was getting wide open threes last year. Tyler Hero was getting wide open threes. You're not going to win if those guys are getting wide open threes. So Brook Lopez is going to have to step up a little bit on these handoff plays, on screens. Maybe, you just go to small ball 5, put Giannis at the 5. And honestly, the Bucks should be doing kind of the opposite of what they normally do with their defensive scheme. And, obviously they pack the paint and they're willing to give up a whole bunch of three-pointers and live by that. But with the Heat, you don't have many guys that's going to drive the ball like that. Okay, Dragic can get to the cup occasionally. Tyler Hero can get to the cup occasionally. Are you really scared about getting beat by those guys off the dribble and them finishing in the paint at a high rate every single time? No, I don't think you should be worried about Dragic or Hero driving to the paint at will, getting buckets. But what I would be worried about is Duncan Robinson standing wide open in the corner. You have to get out to that. And I think the Bucks switching up their game plan a little bit, which I think they will. they can't be this, stubborn and not change their ways at all. And like I said a little bit earlier, I think Jrue Holiday will be on Jimmy Butler most of the time. We'll see how that works out. Maybe Middleton's going to be on Jimmy Butler for a good amount of the time too. I guess it just depends on, who's hot. Like if Goran Dragic is hot, then maybe you just stick Jrue Holiday on him to cool him down a little bit. With that being said, Goran Dragic is not as great as he was last season. He's getting a little older, dealt with injuries. I get all of that. But he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been as lethal as he was last season. Him being compromised is going to have to force Tyler Hero to step up. And can Tyler Hero step up? We're gonna have to wait and see, because we got to see how the Bucks play him. If the Bucks are going to play drop coverage and play soft, Tyler Hero is going to eat. But if they're going to play up and physical and force Tyler Hero to dribble the ball and go off the dribble, I think I like the Bucks' chances there. Even though Hero can beat you sometimes, then I think this Heat team, it's hard for me to see where these points are going to come from on a consistent basis. Like I said, with Dragic not being as good, with Hero being inconsistent, I'm not too sure, man. With Ariza not being able to do much, with Andre Iguodala not being able to do much. I'm looking at the roster right here. Oladipo's out. It would have been perfect to have him out there. Like, he fits perfectly with this Heat team. So I think we're going to see a lot more simple stuff in terms of like Jimmy and Bam pick and rolls, pick and pops. Jimmy and Bam pick and rolls to get a mismatch, to get Brook Lopez onto Jimmy, or to get Bam guarded by Jrue Holiday. I mean, Jrue Holiday could hold his own there, but I mean, it's a height difference. Bam should be able to score there. Bam has enhanced his offensive game. He's hitting a lot more mid-rangers. He's being more aggressive, going to the basket. And I think you can manufacture a good amount of points that way with that pick and roll, with that two-man game right there. But with the Heat, expect to see a lot of handoffs still. Expect to see a lot of Jimmy Butler pick and rolls, a lot of ISOs, and occasional, I want to see some Bam post-ups as well. But with that being said, my X factors for the series is Tyler Hero for the Heat, and the Bucks' other guys is my other X factor. And with all that being said, I think I'll pick the Bucks to win this series in 7 games. I just can't see a way they lose again to this Heat team. The Heat have struggled for a good portion of this season, that being due to various things, injuries, trying to get guys reacclimated, all those things. Maybe they're still tired from the bubble. That's a legitimate reason, but I think the Bucks got it this year. The pickup of Jrue Holiday was so big for them, and that was a huge W, and I think that's enough to put them over the top in terms of beating the Heat and advancing to the second round. Yeah, let me know what y'all think about the Bucks Heat series. This was a hard series for me to pick, and let me know, did the Heat pull it off again for the second year in a row? Did the Bucks finally figure it out? Who's the X factor for the series? You let me know. But this is Jimmy from Just the Facts, and I'm signing out. Peace.